He's an aggressive guy.
Aggressive stuff. We'll see how it goes. TPA Assassins, the Season 2 World Champions, as the blue team starting out here in the All-Star Paris 2014, up against SK Telecom, the reigning World Champions of Season 3, over on the red team.
And look at that, the SKT skin playing against SKT. I like the shout out.
So here we go. TPA, will they go for that late invade? Ward coming out from Jay very early in towards that top bush.
Both defensive wards placed very early. Interesting choice at the top bush there. Very common to drop that ward for one of the buffs, as SKT have done. But it will see any topside late invades here. They're trying. It looks like TPA really do want to go with the standard, sort of quote-unquote new standard, where they do lane swaps. And Jinx definitely does want to go for lane swaps, but SKT do position Shyvana towards the top.
Yeah, you can see that ward has been placed over at that red bush, so they're well aware of the fact that this invade could be coming out.
Yeah, SKT are pretty much expecting TPA to invade that red side because, oh, Jinx Leona, you know, we've got a very powerful Lucian Karma lane here, and they've rightly warded the correct bush for them just to protect that red side, expecting the heavy amount of TPA members on that side of the map.
Bengi just running scout in that mid lane, keeping their vision, and it is going to be a 5-man from both of these teams. Looks like they're going to be trading, so red buff invade coming out, TPA heading in towards that bush, although it's looking like SKT up.
Whoa!
Are they going to start out with
dead even on the first blood? I guess that's pretty hard to come up with.
63%. Definitely swinging in SKT favor.
Wow, that was fast, guys.
That's everybody. And actually looking at the hashtag All-Star, it is flying right now between the two. So, red buff start coming out from Wins. However, it is a blue buff start for Bengi, and he hasn't started out towards that red. He's going to head straight towards there, I believe, as soon as this Wolves camp goes down.
They were doing a 2-buff. No, it's going to be a 2-buff start, actually, for SKT. So a little bit of a slower push, but again, they get more experience. They get their second buff coming up quicker. The thing that I do like to see when you go for this strategy is you leave one of the small minions by the first buff that you steal. Because if you leave that small one, you whoa, Faker is having to blow his... All right. Anyway, if you leave one of the small minions by that first blue buff that you steal, a lot of the times the enemy jungler will not check their own blue buff for a good 5 minutes after, and you delay the second spawn by a tremendous amount. However, both teams have cleared out everything. Oh,
no,
there we go. They are leaving a little one.
See Faker actually getting caught once again. That Glenelg's doing damage. The blue buff is still untouched by Wins, actually. It hasn't gone back there. Double buff was picked up by Bengi, and they're force stacking on that top turret. Meanwhile, you can see SKT have really only just started to get towards the bottom turret.
Yeah, so they went the slow route. As I said, they are leaving the small minion in the enemy buff. TPA opted not to leave it. That's what I was looking at. They're not leaving the small one there. They went for the super fast push, that second wave push, and they got the turret. They are Jinx. They got through the champion reduction damage turret, and now they're trying to get an extra lead here, but SKT are responding, getting everybody up there in time to defend it. Again, we see the difference between the super fast push and the slower 2-buff start here. It costs SKT the early global gold.
Now we'll see how it works out. OMG, of course, did a similar type of thing. Piglet getting aggressive, but Achie going very aggressive on him there, but has to back away. Good trade coming back from Piglet, of course, using that double hit mechanic. So, Mandu, he had to go towards the top lane. Defending it off there is going to make his way back down towards that bottom lane, and will get himself back into lane. Faker in this mid lane. We haven't seen him up against Morning for too long. We did see Morning putting some aggression down early on. Bengi, though, taking a peek towards the jungle area of TPA Assassins, but Wins will secure himself this blue buff.
The early ward coverage, classic Bengi coming through. More classic Bengi, ganking for Faker, getting him a little bit of extra breathing room in the mid lane. No gold card in range for it, though, because Faker had to blow his flash defensively. Their kill potential is greatly reduced, and they always have to worry about counter ganks from Wins, because in the mid game, the level 3 Elise, very strong.
Bebe has now got himself down towards that bottom. We did see Achie teleport down. He has gone back to base, got himself that second Doran's Blade along with the Rejuve bead. So we'll see how that works out for him up against Impact in that top lane, who both of them actually picking up wards as well on their first back here. So Bebe now in lane up against Piglet. This was the featured matchup we wanted to focus on. We'll see how it develops.
They finally do meet up in the bottom lane, and both of them actually still have their turrets. Even though we saw the early lane swap, because SKT were not able to get one. Oh, Faker has no flash. Yeah, all right. Take it down a notch. But yeah, because that turret never went down, this is actually normal laning phase for that bottom lane, and we do get to see the matchup.
Yeah, Wins what's coming in there. Chae goes in. Zenith Blade catching on towards Piglet. Does manage to get the second stun down, but the trade is going back towards BB. Ignite has run out. Exhaust was also used from Chae on Piglet there. Back and forth trade. Now Morning in the mid lane. You can see Bengi putting damage back down towards him.
And Bengi's deep ward just saw Wins as well, so he knew there was no threat of a counter gank. He was just getting some more damage, making Morning back off. They're trying to keep Faker at an acceptable level for when he hits level 6. He wants to be able to back as soon as he hits level 6. He doesn't want to back early here. He's already had to blow his flash, and he's very low on mana, so he needed a little bit support from Bengi to actually stay there.
Chae trying to hold this one out. 3-man diver towards him. Does manage to get the stun down on Bengi. He's going to get taken down. Is he, though?
Oh!
Is he going to be able to get away from it? Bengi's trying to run away. Zenith Blade not quite back off cooldown. And the kill does come out from Piglet. That's first blood for SK Telecom.
Properly executed tower dive, but it was risky. They didn't have very deep ward coverage here, and there were a couple members just recalling. More aggression up top lane, though. First level 6 for Impact, taking advantage of the experience.
Achie does take some of that damage, as you mentioned. Has gone for the double Doran's Blade, so needs to be more aggressive, and at the moment Impact doing a very good job at zoning him out.
Yeah, this matchup is pretty easily swung because Lee Sin, he really thrives when he is able to be able to spam his Iron Will and spam that lifesteal. He needs to be constantly auto-attacking minions up at the minion line, but because Impact got that first level 6, he was able to shove them off the minion line. And that takes away a lot of the sustain for Lee Sin, which is what the laning Lee Sin really relies on.
Wind's coming round, going to try and land that cocoon. Flashes in, does get him down there. He has got flashback available, but is it going to be close enough? No! Morning locks down Faker. That's a kill for the mid lane.
Great move there from Wind, trying to take advantage of Faker just before his flash came back up.
Chae putting damage down on towards Piglet. That's going to be the chompers coming out. ManDu will step around them. BB trying to return some of that damage, but as at the moment, Piglet with that BF sword has a big advantage down that bottom lane.
That's why we're seeing a recall here. BB needs to be able to answer that item discrepancy. Down in CS, they're really hurting. He's only able to get Vamp Scepter, so sustain. They're going to be a lot less aggressive, even with Leona Flame Chompers combo.
Wins has Morning, just backing off. They're getting himself that chalice. That Athene's, of course, being built up by both mid laners. No surprise there. Impact now farming between those two towers in the top lane. And that's actually going to give Achie a little bit of a respite because he will happily farm up against his minions. Actually, it was Impact putting pressure on him with them waves, and I think he'd be quite happy about the fact that Impact has chosen to go this route.
Yeah, Impact is really having his way up in that top lane. He hasn't even had to go back and purchase yet. Already farming behind the turret, trying to draw more attention from the jungler. If he can get wins on the top side of the map, he can relieve pressure for the rest of his team to make a move on Dragon. Wins just happens to be jungling on the top side as well. Great move from SKT. They've got great ward coverage around the Dragon as well, so they don't have to be worried about it, especially since their bottom lane is winning so hard.
Yeah, zero vision on this one. Bengi actually taken very low. They do manage to find out that top laner on the jungle. Winds is going to come around. Cocoon goes in there, going to try and come around, steal away that red buff. Actually hasn't finished it off. Does?
He didn't have smite.
Not. No, he does get it. He got it. He got it in the end there. Nevertheless, he does take Impact down.
Yeah, that's why he was focusing Impact and wasn't waiting till the red buff was low enough to get it for the attention. But he is able to get it in the end with the execute, and it actually costs a lot of not only Impact's time, but also his ulti. See, Faker's making a move.
Faker's making a move. Chae is in trouble. Bibi's going to be the focus target. There's Faker, comes in, stun card, wild card. He gets locked down. Can they finish off Chae as well? You can see Achie teleported in, but he's teleported himself into complete danger. That was not a good move. And the 4 members of SK Telecom take themselves 2 simple kills.
That's that gold that we talked about in the beginning. Global, so many global options for SKT, and they're able to use it bottom lane because of the ward coverage around mid. But the answer from TPA is shove 2 lanes. 1 kill, they get a lot of minions into turrets here. No turret goes down.
Oh, Bengi and Faker coming round. The double combo. Is it going to be enough? Wild growth from Morning, trying to save himself out. The Cocoon coming back out from Wind, trying to turn it back around. The gold card has been pulled by Faker, but he's not going to be able to land it. Oh, he flashes for it actually onto Winds. I'm not sure that was quite worth it. Piglet taking down the bottom turret while this is all happening. ManDu was joined in the fray, but Taipei Assassins get away from this one.
So he still will have a Ghost coming up soon, so he'll have an extra summoner spell for defensive purposes, but that was definitely an unnecessary flash. We'll see if it does end up costing him, as it has before when Wins ganks mid.
It is a strong start from SKT Telecom, despite the turret advantage that was built up early by TPA Kadro. It is all now square once again. Morning does manage to get that shield off every time, expecting that gold card to be in his face, but you can see Faker starting to get more confident with every gold card thrown.
And the control of mid lane vision is going to be even more important as the game goes on. They need to keep track of Faker. You saw him, he just barely left mid lane for that gank down bottom. That's why you have to keep your eyes on him. As soon as he leaks to one side, you have to notify the rest of your team to play more defensively and fall back. Because, as we've seen, teleport can be answered from teleport.
Morning getting drawn into it, a good flash, and that was a very late ultimate from Bengi that was nowhere near landing.
Yeah, a little slow there, but they do have a good push up top as well. So even though they use their jungler mid, great pressure up top here for SKT, and they're making TPA pay for this slow pushing bottom lane.
Yeah, you can see Jinx. He is getting farmed down that bottom, but it doesn't matter. Piglet is ahead, and now with another turret going down, that global gold and experience keeps stacking for SKT Telecom to now have a 3,000 gold lead.
Yeah, it's always a give and take here, a tug of war. You're pushing and pulling on different sides of the map. It's all about where you're allocating your champions, because they cannot traverse that distance quick enough here. We'll see what Jinx can get done with her big minion wave that was built up and that the top turret was sacrificed.
Very aggressive stuff from Mandu. He's got to be careful he doesn't get this turned around. That's going to be the solar flare and the wild growth bouncing him in there, but the glitter lance misses. Can he get away from this one? The rocket, Super Mega Death Rocket doesn't land. Morning should be able to close the distance here. The glitter lance does finish him off, but Morning's in all sorts of trouble now. Bengi chases, Faker comes in, he's going to land the gold card, the wild card comes through, Bengi takes it with a hate spike.
So even though Mandu gets a little too deep there, they're able to capitalize. Bebe engaged on.
Dragon Descent from Impact. Bebe got no escape from this one. The rest of the TPA Assassins having to close in. The Cocoon does land. The Zenith Blade locking him up as well. And again, now Impact in trouble. They're turning this one back around. Can he get the damage back onto Bebe? No, he can't. Wins gets the kill.
Yeah, a little aggressive there from Impact. Nobody was able to back him up, and they didn't have wards inside of the jungle. He saw an AD carry without an escape, and he wanted to make him blow a splash.
So we'll see how Achie works out in this Lee Sin in the top lane. Hasn't been able to get any of that early pressure he would have liked, but he has got that pickaxe down there. Faker now in the top lane. He did manage to come down. He's been involved in everything so far for SKT Telecom. We'll see how he gets going on this Twisted Fate.
They've done a good job of defending their territory here, because TPA against an Evelyn, they want to be able to get wards down inside the jungle camps to be able to see where Bengi is, where he's trying to make his moves from. But since they haven't had any control over the jungle, they haven't been able to get any of these wards down. No really defensive pink wards except at their own buffs. So their zone of control here for TPA has been completely taken away from them. And that's what we talked about in Champion Select. This SK team has so many options.
Piglet is a little bit... Oh, he's going to get spotted. JE will get caught out. That ward, he steps straight over it, so he's...
Wins is pinged out here. He's been seen, but they did ping him.
Goes straight on towards Faker. Wild Growth using does not do enough to bounce him in the air, but the Glitter Lance does land. The second one comes through. Faker goes down to win. Bengi trying to come back in towards this one. Does manage to get the hate spike down and tries to get his ultimate off, but it's not enough to slow down Wins.
Faker was just confident in his ability to juke, I guess. The red ping did go down as Wins was entering from the bottom side, but again, another successful game from him. Faker goes down.
Achie now completed that Tiamat and feeling a little bit more confident against Impact there. He saw Impact use that Bilgewater Cutlass, but went fairly even in trade and didn't fancy it this deep in enemy territory.
So SKT, even though it's 4-4, with the gold advantage from the extra turrets, as well as the Dragon. However, they've been making some mechanical mistakes. They do not look like the flawless team that everyone is extremely scared of. However, it's been enough this game. They're pulling it off very well, using that mobility advantage that they do have.
Well, at the moment, Piglet is going to get joined by his support PoohManDu. He's going to drive on through. So, Piglet with the big advantage actually starting to develop over BB. BB has finally got himself that BF sword. Again, Wins throwing out the Cocoon, not landing on Faker. They're trying to focus this pairing, Morning and Wins, on Faker. It is doing a fairly good job of shutting him down so far, but you can see the Dragon is now up, and this seems to be the focus of both teams.
And Shyvana has actually built Beta the Ruined King first. Even though there's not a real strong tank on the enemy team, So Shyvana in this dragon fight will actually be more damage oriented and is going to be sticking to the carries very easily. If TPA actually take this fight, it's going to be dangerous. SKT already pink warding this dragon. They're prepping for it. They're trying to get the vision advantage around dragon before they have to start it off.
Oh, you're going to get them wards cleared out. Morning in there. Piglet and Bengi making their move back down towards the bottom. Actually, Mandu's off on his own. And actually they're focusing. All the pings from TPA are on this mid turret, and that's where they're going. Faker's forced to back away.
Great call from them. They don't want to start that dragon fight. SKT are too far ahead, and they have the teleport on Shyvana. So instead, they shove up mid, they get some of that gold back, and they take away a lot of that control, where SKT are making a lot of their plays from the mid lane, from Faker, using that mid lane turret as his home base, and then threatening to teleport either top or bottom. Now it's going to be much more difficult for Faker to pull those off.
Two top laners are still sitting with teleport. You can see that Achie, it is pronounced Achie, by the way, ladies and gentlemen. I'm aware there is another Achie in Team Fire at the moment, I believe it is, but they are both pronounced the same. They're not the same person, though. I should be clear on that one. Has got himself the Tiamat and the Giant Spell. Dragon, though, being picked up by SK Telecom, and TPA slow to react.
Double pink wards for them, give them the confidence. Bengi at half, though.
Execute on that rocket, not quite enough. Does land on Bengi, took him pretty low, but nobody was really following through from TPA.
And Faker, again, he's rotating up top. He went through his own jungle this time. And there it is, the ulti.
Does manage to flash away. Has he got far enough away? The kick does not land. He trying to knock upon Faker. Faker does land the gold card. Achie in all sorts of trouble. Will go down from this one. You can see he had the support coming around, but it was not there quick enough, and that was a good, clean gank from SK Telecom.
Yeah, very impressive TF play so far from Faker. He actually goes into his own territory, knowing that TPA have not been able to get those deep wards down to make a clear path for him to use his ulti up top.
The culling on Jay, not quite enough to finish him off. The double tap from Piglet, again also landing on there, but they didn't have enough cooldowns to lock him up. Bengi going to get spotted by the ping ward here. Morning catching on towards him. Glitter lances are good, but Bengi has the ability to run out of that one. Couldn't quite lock him down. Wins is now coming around on towards Impact, and actually getting pinged on. Achie fancies this one.
Wins using his sweeper just to make sure, but it's already been done, and now the ward is going to stay there. He knows that it's there, and they can try and work around it, though.
Oh, that clear land's not landing from Morning there onto Mandu, and he will clear out that pink ward. That's a expensive investment. Bengi going looking in the jungle, and actually will find Jay. Did get pinged out. I wonder if Jay's going to try and blind shot across there. No, he's not, and Bengi will step away. This vision battle is going back and forth, and you can see a lot of ping wards from SK Telecom, and again, they are focusing, trying to focus on Morning.
You can actually only have one on the map at all times, but they've got 4 down and 2 in inventory, so they've got an extra one. As soon as one of those does go down, Mandu's going to be able to replace it, and they're going to get another True Sight down.
With that investment, we'll see how it works out. Of course, the items being picked up by Taipei Assassins don't counter it. There is a 4,000 gold differential between these two teams, and SK Telecom stacking up nicely in this mid lane. They will take the turret down. Archie's all behind them, but I'm not sure he wants to go diving into 5 members of SK Telecom.
It's just so dangerous for them to go outside of their territory at all. With the Evelyn and the Twisted Fate and the Teleport Shyvana with early Blade, they've got so much pick potential on SKT and so much great warding that they have the vision to actually make the correct choice every single time.
With 4 members, oh, Solar Flare lands, but it's not enough to shut down Mandu. He does flash away from that one. PoohManDu being able to escape the minion wave was with TPA, but again, great clearance. You can see those wildcards from Faker just locking everything down. They're going to try and make a move, transition down towards the bottom lane, or translation as we'd like to call it. Pink ward was getting cleared out by TPA, but again, they don't fancy it because they're leaving themselves exposed in the middle.
They've got one of the pink wards down. It's a very, very long battle they're going to have to wage, though, to take all this SKT vision away from their side of the jungle.
And it would just get replaced straight away.
There it is.
Managed to place those wards from their inventory, and there we go. Faker just placing his own one back again on the mid lane there. So Achie actually having to cut off. Impact has been kind of free farming in this top lane. Archie's doing a good job of farming himself, keeping up with him, but surely in the grand scheme of things, a Lee Sin up against a Shyvana. Shyvana is going to come out on top as this game starts to go late.
Yeah, Impact feeling really good about his position, and that's great for SKT because he is huge for them. They're relying on Shyvana and Evelyn flanks to really get the good engages towards the late game. Faker coming in to try and defend Mandu.
Mandu goes down, the culling coming out though, double teleport coming in, and you can see this is possible global presence. Achie is there just over the side, does manage to land the kick, goes in on Impact. He's 3 members, kicks out Faker, but nobody's with him, and Achie goes to safeguard away. They're locked up in the side, Bengi. Now we can see the solar flare, that's going to try and slow them down. Faker does manage to land the stun card on Morning. Morning taking the wild card as well, having to step away. They catch the slow back on towards Impact. Pop the cook does not quite land. Piglet taking no solo. Life stealing off the columns, but Bebe flashes in for it, gets himself the kill, and it was a very close exchange between the two. I think it was a 2-for-1 in the end.
So they saw Bengi coming down for the flank at the exact same time that Achie decides to take the Lee Sin Q in. Initially though, start this off by taking down PoohManDu. And yes, they are able to burn both globals from SKT. Faker comes in, Impact comes in. Initially this is a great win for them, and they could back off, but because Lee Sin decides to go in here, the rest of the team actually changing their focus and going up towards this top, they trade Achie for Bengi. And even though Wins is trying to protect Achie here, give him a way out and give him a cocoon, not enough.
Well, with them kills coming through, you can see Morning clearing out those waves once again. Dragon up in around about 30 seconds, well, 46 seconds. You can see it in the top corner there, so it's not available. TPA getting the kills, but again, no objectives to take for them. This is a very similar position to Fnatic, actually, as they managed to start picking up those kills. They are still 4,000 gold behind as well.
Yeah, TPA, they're in a hard position because they need a lot of vision around their own jungle. SKT are looking to get those flanks from the Shyvana, from the Evelyn, and then teleport in with a global. But they need good vision to fend against these. You can see more defensive pink wards to be able to catch out Bengi.
Morning having to use that wild growth sped up. Faker comes in, does not lock down the stun card. Morning trying to get away from this one. Glitter lands on 3 members of SK Telecom, and the rest of TPA come round there. So Chae goes deep on this one. Bengi taken solo, but they didn't get a kill from it. Impact gets caught out there. Achie does go down. SK Telecom solo, fleeing from this one. They're going to turn it back around. Piglet gets himself in. Repel.
Nowhere to go.
Nowhere to go. No racer available. Goes back in. Gets himself a kill for the process. Faker finishes it off though, and that was a 2-for-1 this time to SK Telecom, and they will get the Dragon.
Exciting ending, but yeah, it's jungler going down for support, so SKT, after the pick, they are finally rewarded with not only an extra kill, but as well the Dragon, and that's what we're talking about. They start the fights out middle, and then they bring in Faker for the guaranteed engage. Faker hasn't even been starting these with the Messiah-type plays where he would need a Zhonya's. He's not initiating, he's following up the initial fight, and just coming in with the gold card, with the death cap rush, so he's got more ability power to take somebody out as soon as he arrives for the secondary engage.
Difference coming out, Static Shiv being built up by Bibi, but this time he's actually gone for the average blade first instead of the Zeal, so trying to get that one locked in. Meanwhile, Piglet, you can see Triforce now just completed. There's the Static Shiv just popping into place as well. Rabadon's Death Cap also picked up by Faker, has got that Sheen as well. Oh, Zenith Blade not landing on PoohManDu there. Chae not quite locking him up this time. Still, both teams are fairly bloodthirsty in this game. 8 kills apiece in just 24 minutes.
Yeah, TPA are trying to make moves, but there's wave clear on SKT, there are globals on SKT, and there's also invisible champions on SKT, so they can catch you out and they can get that hard engage. Faker has actually gone for the Sheen next, looking for the tower pushing power. Lichbane eventually, but SKT actually are fine with just trying to defend mid, letting Faker get small advantages, split pushing down bottom. He has to get pretty close though, be able to use that TF teleport. That's why he's walking up through the jungle.
Uses the Destiny, is he going to be close enough? There he is, joining the fray. He's going to get caught out by Solar Flare straight away. Bengi taken low, but they have to back out of that, and the Achie going down again. Wins being chased down, Impact trying to catch on towards him. Stun card pulled by Faker, does land it. That's going to be Wins going down, and it's a 2-for-0 to SK Telecom.
Again, TPA trying to make a move, shoving up mid, but SKT playing with the TF so well. Starting the fight, then Faker comes in for the stun, get another couple kills.
So, Baron looks like it may well be the focus for SK Telecom. They're rotating up there. No jungler, of course, for Type A Assassins, and this one should get picked up fairly cleanly. Bibi has not got Super Mega Death Rocket either. Wins has not got Wild Growth. He's going to have to simply poke at it with Wild Growth. Chae goes aggressive. He does actually draw them away at the moment. Solar Flare is not available either. They're simply trying to run interference.
They're delaying them fairly well.
They're doing a good job here. The damage going down, but there is the Baron. Now Jay's actually going to get locked up. Has to flash out. Glitterlance again catching 3 members of SK Telecom, but Taipei Assassins don't quite do enough, and that's a Baron for SK Telecom.
Good news for TPA is that they do have the stack ship for BB now, so they have a little bit more wave clear to work with, because they are definitely going to be on the defensive. This is very hard for them to come back. They're hoping for a misplay from SKT at this point.
Speaking of hard, I want to be hard on the top laner for Taipei Assassins. This was a first lock choice. Lee Sin, he's 0-5-1 right now, had 0 impact, honestly, on the game. And you got to question that first pick.
Impact himself, you're right, has been doing quite well up there, rushing that Blade of the Ruined King. We saw him when he got that early level 6 and he was shoving Lee Sin off of the minion wave. There was so much presence lost for TPA up there. But again, we talked about how much SKT were bringing with all the globals of the Evelyn plus the Twisted Fate. They've done such a great job playing with the entire team, not just the isolated top lane.
So, Mundu and Bengi in that mid lane, keeping the ways clear, keeping the vision down, as pink wards they had all down have been fairly well cleared out by Taipei Assassins. Taipei Assassins themselves have got some pretty good vision along the river, so they have a good idea of where SK Telecom are going to be, but they need to play the defensive game right now. This is a bound up SK Telecom. It's down to them to make the next move.
Not only is it baroned up SK Telecom, they've got a very strong power spike right now. Dual items for their tank. They've got the AD carry with Trinity Force and Bloodthirster for Lucian. His burst is crazy right now. He's even added an elixir on top of that because they want to make the most of this Baron buff. We'll see how many towers they can actually get. They might be able to crack one of the inhibitor turrets. Going with that split push, 1-3-1 style split push. Blade Shyvana that does have teleport. And as we mentioned, Faker trying to get that turret damage going. Lich Bane, third item.
I'm actually looking towards Morning, seeing which way he is going to go. Hasn't got that death cap down. Achie caught out. Has to use his water safeguard away. Quickly kicks impact. He wanted to send him the wrong way. That was not what he wanted to do. And that will be Achie going down to impact.
0-6-1. He is having a very rough game. And compounding the fact that he's had a rough game is that he's spent a lot of money on mobility here. Boots of mobility, upgraded already as well. Wind's actually getting into trouble now.
He's got nowhere to repel to. He's just going to drop straight down on Mandu. Faker's actually coming in. Does manage to get the wild growth off. Saves wins for now. But he steps back in there. Morning also having to back off. That Faker down that bottom lane. Still keeping that bottom turret. Taking it down. The minion wave will come in. That's the mid turret as well being picked up as the top turret. SK Telecom taking all 3 inner turrets in one clean swoop.
I don't know. It just seems like so much to keep track of for one team. An Evelyn in itself is already ridiculously hard. It's almost a team effort that you have to do to keep track of her. And then adding a TF into that you also have to keep track of. SKT have just pulled out all the moves in this first game.
Fantastic movement. That's going to be a second inhibitor turret going down as SK Telecom pounce on through. A double kill being picked up on impact. Destruction Derby coming out from SK Telecom now. That's 2 inhibitors down. They're just going to push on for the win here against the Taipei Assassins. They started well in the lane phase, but it's just not enough to teak up with the reigning world champions. Faker gets himself the final kill. Achie having a torrid time here. 0-7-1. That is why you don't pick the world champion skins against them. You have to back it up with something, anything. SK Telecom clear winners here against Taipei Assassins.
Yes, very, very well played from SK Telecom. They just executed so cleanly. The first few TF ultimates, both finding their marks. Rotating so quickly, it didn't even look like a rotation.
They ended with an 18,000 gold lead. It was around 16-8. So it was 8-8 at one point. That's how different that Baron fight was. That mid lane fight where they caught out that jungler. And SK Telecom proving really why they are world champions. They came into this tournament with a somewhat shaky record. They got knocked out in the quarterfinals in the champions over in Korea, as well as NLB in the semifinals by CJ Frost. Caught a lot of people by surprise, that one. But they are clearly well practiced.